Hi everyone, welcome back to Cheese and Turtles. My name's Imogen. In today's video, I am talking about how travelling in 2024 changed me as a person. I travelled to 11 countries by myself in 2024, including the States, which I'd never been to before, and it was really cool, and I wanted to talk about how that changed me. So if you're not already subscribed, make sure to do that, give this video a thumbs up, follow me on Instagram, let's get started. I am a huge fan of solo travel. I should also mention that, did I mention that they were solo trips? They were solo trips. Anyway, how did it change me? Firstly, number one, I became more confident. So I was actually pretty nervous before my Europe trip. So I went to 10 countries on the Europe trip in 10 days, which was actually, looking back, kind of insane, but we made it work. I vlogged it all as well, so go and check out my vlogs. Okay, there wasn't a vlog. I went to Vienna, I didn't vlog Vienna because I had travel complications, but I vlogged everything else. There are 9 Europe vlogs. Go and check those out. But I was super nervous. I was like, oh, this is like a logistical nightmare. Like, it was, because I was doing a new country every day, logistically it was super complicated. And I have only myself to blame for that. Like, I did this voluntarily. Like, I was the one who plans this, but I was like, you know, there are so many moving parts to this trip, quite literally, and there are so many things that could possibly go wrong. And so much so that I actually made a whole video about all the things that went wrong on my Europe trip. So again, if you're interested in that, go and check it out and have a nice laugh over all my mishaps. But anyway, I became so much more confident. So I realised that if I can handle almost a month of solo travel, so that was like, that trip was 10 days, and then I spent 2 weeks in San Francisco, so that was almost a month in total. If I can handle almost a month of solo travel to 11 new countries across 2 continents by myself, then I can probably do most things. Like, yeah, I kind of felt like I'd thrown myself in the deep end in terms of embracing solo travel, but I felt like I don't know, I just really grew a spine, I guess. I was just like, you know what? This is scary, but I did the scary thing, and I came out of that with like kind of a swagger almost. I don't know. I just felt like so confident when I stepped off the plane on the way back from my Europe trip, and when I stepped off the plane back from San Francisco, I was like, oh my god, I did that. You know, not to like blow my own trumpet or anything, but I felt awesome. I did. So I became a lot more confident. Number 2, I gained mental resilience. So a lot of things went wrong on my Europe trip, like I mentioned. You can go and look at the video for more details. San Francisco, not so much, actually. After Europe, and I think, obviously, the number of things that went wrong on my Europe trip was partly the logistical complexity of it, because when I was in San Francisco, I was literally in the same place for 2 weeks. So that was actually incredibly relaxing compared to Europe, where it was a new country every day. So nothing, like literally nothing went wrong on my San Francisco trip. I was actually planning to do a video of all the things that went wrong on my San Francisco trip, and I was trying to brainstorm, and I was like, I have nothing to say, so I never made that video because there was no content. But yes, I had to deal with all of these problems by myself. And I think, obviously, like, some of it was logistical, some of it was just like a timing thing. Like, I had a lot of really weird stuff going on in my personal life at that point in 2024, which was kind of affecting me mentally, and I'm not going to go into that, but I think it was a mix of the two. But I gained so much mental resilience from that, because I was actually dealing with a lot at the time, both practically and emotionally, and I dealt with it all, and I came out on the other side, and I saw loads of countries. So that mental resilience definitely like fed into my confidence as well. Those two are definitely different things. I think confidence is, you know, your ability to just kind of like dive into something head first and just trust in yourself that it's going to work out, and resilience is like your ability to kind of bounce back from setbacks. So both of these things are really important. All right. Number 3, I got so much fitter, okay? So I was walking like a hell of a lot. Like, I was walking so much because I was just going sightseeing a lot, and there were so many things that I wanted to see, and I just walked a lot. I actually lost a lot of weight through walking so much, and it really helped my like goal to get stronger, fitter, healthier, and I lost a lot of weight in 2024. So my record actually during that, and I actually set a step count record during this time ever, I think. My record for my step count was 37,000 steps in one day, and I set that when I was walking the 7 hills of San Francisco. So if you actually wanna watch me walk around San Francisco and set that step count record, I did a 7 hills of San Francisco video. So by the end I'm quite tired, but it was cool. Right, the next thing is that I got to practice my German and my Spanish in a real world context. So I went to a lot of German speaking countries. I went to Austria, I went to Liechtenstein, I went to, well, actually my Airbnb host in Slovakia, in Slovakia, her English was like pretty limited, but she was completely fluent in German. Guess who else is fluent in German? I am. So we communicated exclusively in German, which was really cool because I have been speaking German since I was about 7 years old, and it's like my second language. So it was like, I don't get an opportunity every day to talk to someone in German, and it was really, really cool because another of my goals for last year was also to like really like improve and maintain my languages. So being able to like speak to someone and have it be useful in a travel context, I don't know, I just felt like I ticked so many boxes with that one. And she was also a lovely person. Like, I really loved staying in her Airbnb, and it was really like peaceful, and yeah, I actually really loved Slovakia. It was beautiful. Anyway. I also got to practice my Spanish, so I went to Barcelona. Admittedly, I didn't really practice very much, but getting to hear it in a sort of like real world context was really cool as well. So practicing my languages was really cool. I also rediscovered a sense of joy and wonder at what the world has to offer. Seriously, like for a lot of this trip, I was just walking around like a kid in a candy shop. Like, I was just seeing the world through completely new eyes, and it just every day felt absolutely electric. And you know, don't get me wrong, I had bad days, but at the end of it all, I wanted to do it again. Like, I think about going back to San Francisco so much. I think about going back to Lisbon so much. I think about all these beautiful places that I went to, and just like it just felt amazing. It felt completely magical. So some of the best moments were seeing the Pacific Ocean for the first time at Baker Beach in San Francisco. Fun fact, you can also see the Golden Gate Bridge from there. Amazing. I also stood on the Golden Gate Bridge, and that changed my brain chemistry. That was great. Standing on the Golden Gate Bridge. Oh, that was my next point. Standing on the Golden Gate Bridge. It's one of the things that it's not overhyped. Like, I know it may sound ridiculous to be saying this about the literal, probably the most famous bridge in the world, but it's almost underrated. Like, I had very high expectations, and nothing prepares you. Nothing prepares you. I made a whole video about it, just standing on the Golden Gate Bridge, because firstly, the sheer scale of it is amazing, but there's just something, I don't know, I was absolutely mesmerised. Nothing prepares you. It's almost underrated, and that's a kind of a shocking thing to say because of how famous and how popular it is, but I said it, the Golden Gate Bridge is underrated. You will have your mind blown. Visiting the Lisbon Oceanarium and seeing a rare sunfish was also really cool. The Geneva Botanical Gardens, amazing. I loved the like cactus house that they had, and it had some really nice fountains and outdoor seating areas. And also a train ride through the Austrian mountains. So at one point I went on this was from Vienna to Vaduz, and I went on this 7.5, nearly 8 hour train ride through the Austrian mountains, pretty much across like a large chunk of Austria to get between these two places. And it was astonishing. Like, you can see the, just it blew my mind. The views were just astonishing, and I just spent like most of the 8 hours just staring out of the window with like my jaw hanging open because I was just like, oh my god, this is beautiful. Okay, so those were some moments that really like infused a sense of joy and wonder kind of back into my brain. They were amazing. I also gained a new appreciation for being at home. Now, traveling is fantastic, but the sense of security I got when I returned home was amazing, because obviously, like, especially in Europe, I think it was like I was like every day I had to go to a new country in order to get to the place I had booked to sleep in for the night. And that was a little bit anxiety inducing, I cannot lie. I think in San Francisco as well, just the feeling of being like literally halfway around the world, and the feeling of, like when I was in Europe, if something went wrong, I could theoretically have called my dad to come and pick me up. And I know if I was in San Francisco and something went wrong, I could technically have, but it's just so much further. Like, the scale of it is just it's kind of like intimidating a little bit. So that was a little bit of a source of anxiety for me, is like, you know, I'm so far from home, and, you know, it was definitely a good source of like resilience, but the sense of security I got when I got home was amazing, and I appreciated my apartment and like my home city so much more for having been away. I remember like landing in London, and the first thing I did was buy and drink a Red Bull, because it was a night flight and I didn't get much sleep, and I was just like, this is I need to be awake. But I remember like getting on the Elizabeth line through London, and I don't know, I just felt so happy to be home. And it wasn't that I didn't enjoy the trip, but it just gave me so much of an appreciation for like landing and being at home. And I remember the pilot on the flight said something like, because it was mostly like Americans and British people on the flight, which makes sense. And they said, you know, to everyone who's like on holiday, welcome to the UK, and if you're coming home, welcome home. And that just made me feel really emotional, because I was like, oh, you know, I'm really lucky to live here. So that's how traveling this year changed me as a person. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to do that. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, follow me on Instagram. I'll see you next time. Bye.